I thought I'd do a little training update on Estrella. I don't even remember what I posted last. It's been so long. We've been extremely busy around here, and I just haven't had a weekend to sit down and look at any of the videos. So she's come a long way. I'm actually thinking about getting on her, which was something a couple months ago I thought I would never say. I was getting really discouraged, and I'm feeling really encouraged now. I also am playing a little bit with the TRT method, and I'll put a link below to some videos on that. It's kind of a new thing for me, and I am not an expert in that. I am just playing with it and learning. There's a whole program. I'm going to go ahead and sign up to do that program because I feel like there's always something new to learn. You know, I started out my groundwork journey with John Lyons, whom I love, and still just find a lot of value in everything I learned there. And then, of course, Buck Brannaman, and then I had a local cowboy mentor for groundwork early on in my horse career that I learned a lot from. But I think that we can all learn from various people and take what we like and what we don't like from a lot of different people. And so TRT is new to me, and so if I'm doing it wrong, it's because I'm figuring it out. And so far I haven't been able to do the exercises to the point where I really feel like Stray is relaxing into it. When you watch Tristan Tucker, you'll see that he will do certain movements until the horses drop their head and relax. She's still a little tense, so I have to find like a very slight hint of a change and then reward that. And I just think the rest of it will come. She's over there right now. She's a little jumpy today, so I just turned her out here and let her run around, and she had lots of bucks to get out. So I have to remember, even though she's not a youngster, in a lot of ways she's very much like, you know, a very young green horse that I'm well, obviously green as in unbroke horse that I'm training. So I'll just video and see where we go. So my understanding of the methodology for the TRT method is for the horse to learn self-control and to find a posture of relaxation. And this is one of the movements that you do, trying to get the horse to drop the head and find relaxation. The idea is to get them to move their feet and kind of bend and drop their head. The problem is Stray gets really tight when I put my hand on her side. It causes her anxiety. So a little bit, I'm just kind of following her, because every time I touch her, she takes a pretty big step. And her other thing she wants to do is quickly move away and then freeze. So we're working on that. But you can see as I go along, I'm not really finding that spot where she's dropping her head and finding relaxation in the movement. So I have to start with just the most subtle signs. And it's hard because she might drop her head or soften her body for a half a second and then get tight again. So I find it really hard to find that moment to stop, but I have to find moments to stop so she doesn't get more worked up. You can see a second ago that I had stopped and she did lick her lips. It's really important for her to have those moments to just bring herself back down. And you can see there are moments where she drops her head and she bends her body nicely. But she's not super relaxed yet. And this time I didn't even touch her side, because when I touch her side, she gets really tight. And of course I have to work on that because my legs will be lying on her sides. So in our training, we have lots of moments of stopping and letting her think, and you'll see that her first reaction when I go to do something is to tighten up, brace, maybe step back. And I'm just going to keep working until that starts to go away. So I know watching all of this for a long time can be kind of boring. I never know how much to include or how much to cut, because I think people that are really interested in the process are kind of interested in seeing how long does it take, what all the steps are, or the process that we went through, where the successes and failures are. And so I never know, should I just cut this short, or does everyone want to see kind of what we did for that day as a whole? So your feedback on that would be good. It's interesting because in some ways on the right she's softer, and in some ways she's more uptight. When I first got her, she was easier on the right. I think a lot of times when horses have been mishandled, they've been mishandled on the left and they're suspicious on the left. And often the right is a little bit more of a blank slate. But as we've gone along, maybe because I'm always leading her on the left has gotten a little easier. But you can see that she seems to be a little more relaxed and a little more bent and looking for the answer. Well, I say that and now she's tight. But see, I'm touching her on the right side. She's not loving it. When she was just moving and I wasn't touching her, it was okay. Here, touching her on this right side, you can see her head's up. Her ears are showing that she's suspicious. She's swishing her tail. She's got a lot of tension. Then she tries to freeze. And see, for a moment, she relaxed and dropped her head. And so I tried to release, but the tension came back. So again, that's where I'm finding it difficult to find that moment of where to give the release, because it's a split second sometimes that I can get something and then she's back into tension. So I just make sure to wait and really give her time to process and think, and hopefully wait for a sigh or a lick and chew. And sometimes it comes and sometimes it doesn't. So she's much more relaxed with me just using body language to get her to turn. So I have to keep also having moments where I can touch her and let her get used to that as well. But she was getting so uptight, I decided to go back to where she was relaxed and see if I could start over there. So here's the next movement, is you back them up with their head turned away from you, and you want the front next to you to step behind the front that's further away from you. Now, she's not really bending her body and dropping her head, and backing up makes her quite anxious, but she's doing better than she did before, and she's pretty good at stepping under a little bit. There she stepped in front and across. There she got stuck. So she will do the movement, but you can see her head is up and there's a lot of tension. And she was getting more tense, so I decided to give her a moment and think about that and relax rather than keep going and making her more tense. Finally, there was a lick and chew. So going the other way, I don't know which way is better. She looks pretty tense in both of these. Maybe this way was a little bit better. And you can see that we really don't get anything but split seconds or fractions of seconds where her head goes down or she bends her body. The rest of the time she's pretty braced. She feels pretty braced in the hand as well. And so, of course, no one wants to ride a braced horse. So if I can teach her not to brace here, then it helps me in the long run. So I have a little exercise I'm going to try for the first time to get her used to the lunge line around her body and kind of following a feel, even if it's not the same direction I am. I haven't done this with her before, and I'm not real sure how she's going to react, but we will see. So what I didn't say in that little intro was I'm doing all of this in preparation for long lining her. I need to know that she's okay with the lunge line touching her body all over, and that she can follow a feel even if it's not towards me, if she can follow that feel away from me and follow the feel off the halter, and eventually it will be on a bridle, but I need to make sure she understands all the concepts where she's not in danger of hurting her mouth or getting tangled up. So I need to do this on each side with one line before I start adding a second line. I was pretty pleased with how she did here and dealt with me flopping the lunge line all around. She was feeling pretty tense in her skin, so I was just being a little bit cautious about stepping behind her in case she kicked out at the lunge line. And sorry, I kind of go out of frame in some of this. It's kind of hard to just set up your phone and video what you're doing, and I'm more interested in training the horse than capturing it on video. So again, I was pretty pleased. I was surprised that she thought that through. I know she's a smart mare, but she felt that pressure. See, she wants to turn towards me, and I wasn't quite in the right position with the lunge line. But how she really just thought about it, and the work we had done before giving to pressure obviously paid off. And I don't know how much the pull of the lunge line around her quarters she was giving in the quarters. She's a very sensitive mare, so it's hard to say exactly what part helped trigger her, but I really want her to be using her brain like this. So I was really pleasantly surprised how this went for the very first time doing it. Anytime this mare gets nervous or panicked, it's just really important for me to stop and reassure her, because she doesn't do anything trying to be naughty. She does everything out of being concerned and being worried about getting in trouble. So to get frustrated or aggressive or whatever would be a huge mistake, because she's always trying. So yeah, I'm super pleased with that. She has a real strong desire to turn and face me, so to turn away from me is kind of a big deal for her. And she also, when I first started working with her, was really scared of the lunge line anywhere around her body. So really pleased with that. So another part of our training has been to regularly have her get used to me being up high on the mounting block. Seeing me up high is very nerve-wracking for her. I pony her a lot off of Weston, which is helpful, but she still keeps her distance. So coming up and getting pet with me standing up above her is kind of a big deal and something that makes her nervous. So obviously, if I'm going to sit on her, she's going to need to be very comfortable with me up high, and she's not there yet. She was actually a lot more edgy on this day than she had been, I think, 3 days or something earlier. I think this was on a Wednesday, and I had done this previously on a Monday, and I had practically laid across her back on Monday. So I'm still finding that we have good and bad days, or good days and better days. We don't really have really bad days anymore where I'm feeling discouraged and she's absolutely freaking out. I mean, it could probably happen. I know training's a process, and sometimes it's, you're moving forward and feeling good, and then it feels like you're plateaued or moving backwards. So I was a little bit discouraged, not discouraged, but disappointed that she was a little more tense and nervous on this day than she had been just a few days before. So getting her to present her side to the mounting block and stand there and be comfortable is a goal. We have done pretty well on the left side now. The right side is still a little more difficult, which is interesting because I pony her off of Weston's left side, so she sees me out of her right eye quite a bit from up tall. But, we handle horses and do most of the stuff from the left. So she's a little better on the left. So my goal is to get her to stand next to the mounting block close enough that if I wanted to, I could mount, because that is a goal, and have her be relaxed up there. You can see in her facial expressions that she can be pretty tense about this and very suspicious. She likes her ears rubbed. She likes her face rubbed. She likes the underside of her neck scratched. So there are parts of this she really enjoys. We at least got to this point where I could kind of lean over her and pet her other side. That's where I wanted to get to end this session. So thanks for watching my little training update on Stray. I'll try to be a little better about getting videos up. I think more exciting stuff is going to be happening really soon.